Are you ready?
Starting now?
Now you just messed it up, you knob. God, you know that the shit that we go through for this, huh?
I know. Fuckers better appreciate it. When we started, we were just like, yeah, we're just going to do this, man. You know, shoot our wad into the wind and see what happens. What's the title of this podcast again?
I don't know. I don't know. Something with a penis, I guess.
Right.
Our fucking faces are everywhere now.
Right.
You know, but
You're welcome, ladies.
Right. Popular with the ladies. Right. Oh, I'm not even going to apologize because hopefully it sounds fucking hilarious.
Yeah, totally. This is fucking explicit now.
The explicit button. Let me use my finger.
La, 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 la.
It is time for another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And that episode starts now. All right, everyone. Welcome once again to another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And I was going to say the last week that you guys got to deal with just us, but next week we have our buddy Michael on, and then it's us as far as I know for that distant future. So,
Right?
Yeah, in other words, so you just don't get to deal with us for 1 week next week because, our good buddy Mike's on. Crazy Megan's husband. So that's, obviously he's been around us, since the summer that we got sober. We met him,
right?
3 months sober, something like that? 3, 4?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, he came in, July?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But,
so,
he's...
we were like maybe 2.5 months sober, something like that.
Yep.
And
we've been friends for just a long time.
And he lived in the 3-quarter house with us and blah blah blah. So yep, Michael's been around forever. Yeah,
we've got just almost just as much history with him as you and I have. So
right.
He's one of the good ones. All our friends are good ones, but one of the ones that just good friends that's been there literally from the start. So
yep.
But yeah, and then we got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. First of the month, so we got the step to talk about. We got your reading. Obviously, we can talk a little bit about Mom. It's been a year since she passed away, and I've got some thoughts. I'm sure obviously both of us do. And then I do want to. I'm sure you heard that Matthew Perry died this week.
I did.
Okay,
yep.
So. I have no desire to talk about Friends or anything like that, but he was one of us, and I have some things that kind of crossed my mind this week. But
I got a couple thoughts too.
Okay, well, good. I was first of all, I can take a guess that you're probably not a Friends fan.
I was actually, since it's been in the news and the social conscience and all that shit this past week or so. I've seen episodes of the show at the height of its popularity.
Right.
It was the first time I tried to get sober. So my stupid roommate, we had to watch Friends on whatever fuck night it was on. So yeah, right. So yes, I've seen it. It was what it was. It was a dumb sitcom.
Yeah, exactly. A dumb sitcom that hit at the right time, just like a Seinfeld, just like some of these other ones, and it made all of them multi-millionaires, and, which is crazy. And I love Jennifer Aniston. I think I've said it before on here. So she was never a problem watching, but
I've always thought she was super overrated. She just
and you know what I don't disagree with that, but I still think she's hot as fuck. But that's just me.
I there's something about her that just not click, but whatever.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Courtney Cox, though.
What's that?
I'll take me some Courtney Cox, though.
Yeah, she's
pre-surgery, of course.
You know what? And I was just going to say that she was in a show that, and I can't for the life of me remember which one it was. It was one of the more recent shows I watched, and I'm saying the last 5, 6, 7 years, something like that she was in, and yeah, she's had work done.
She has.
Yeah, no doubt. And I looked at him like, really? I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Yeah,
you know,
it's a damn shame.
I know, but they had her. They interviewed her on. I'm pretty sure it had to have been Smartless. So that was, yeah, I know it was. You know, because they talked about the whole Bruce Springsteen thing and how all that stuff
Mm,
went about, and which is again interesting story if nothing else.
right.
But yeah. So anyhow,
Right.
we got a shit ton to talk about. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, I'm not a Die Hard's Friends fan. You know, Matthew Perry was okay. You know, he was in the one movie. Just real quick, do you remember the movie The Whole Nine Yards? I'm sure. I mean, they've been talking about that too. But Bruce
You know,
Willis.
right. I may have seen it at some point in some sort of stupor. But
Yeah, and
but you know, it doesn't pop.
it would have been I'm pretty sure when, you know, early 2000s. I think Dawn and
Right.
I were together when we saw it. But again, another one, Amanda Peet plays his wife in
Mm.
that, and
Ah,
she's smoking fucking hot. So
yeah.
um
She is a little
eh,
smoke show.
yeah, so that's two of the things, you know. Matthew Perry's in there, but there's Jennifer Aniston in this, Amanda Peet in
Right.
this other one, and I'm like, oh, okay.
I remember him from the that Chris Farley movie where they were the Frontier one or whatever.
Oh shit, okay.
Yeah, I don't remember what the hell it was called, and that was certainly a stupid movie as well. But yes.
Right. Yeah, he's been around for a couple of minutes, that's for sure.
Uh-huh.
So, all right. Well, I suppose what the fuck should we do a reading? I guess we'll
Well, all
start
right.
that
We could
off.
try.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
Today was a day. Bill knows. Yes, I had lots and lots of moments today. I literally just finished eating about 15 minutes ago, and I've only been home, about 45 maybe at the most. So I grabbed my book and I was looking at a couple of things, and nothing was grabbing me. So you know what? I am going to open it up, point at a page, and read it. We'll
those
see
are
what
the
happens.
those are the best ones.
We'll see. All right. Here we go. Oof. All right. There's no way I'm pronouncing this guy's name from the quotation, but March 26th. Why the hell not? Ha. I have never seen a greater monster or miracle than myself. Michael something or other, some French pronunciation. We'll move on. During our active addiction, many of us became monsters. We hurt our family and anyone who dared care about us. Now, as we sit in our healing circles and listen to stories of others, we realize that we weren't alone in our actions. We often hear tales of people destroying everything they ever loved. Then came recovery. Now we hear and see the miracles. We meet people whom everyone had given up on. They became good, sober people and good citizens again. We see courage replace fear. We see hope replace hopelessness. We see gentleness replace anger. We have the honor of witnessing miracles in the making. We've been given the gift of seeing the healing power of spiritual principles brought to life in the actions of our members. But remember, recovery doesn't keep us from being monsters. It just gives us that choice. Will we be monsters or miracles? Prayer for the day. Higher power, help me to remember that I am responsible for who I become and how I act. Help me to be a walking miracle and living example of the healing power of your love. When I want to act like a monster, remind me of my goodness. Today's action. On a piece of paper, I will make 2 columns. In the first column, I will write down ways I have acted like a monster. In the second column, I will write down ways I am a miracle.
I only laugh at that because you and I have talked about that whole thing with, you know, when everyone always says that. Well, first of all, the saying that everyone hears is, you know, don't leave or don't walk away until the miracle happens, because, you know,
Right.
I mean that. And I think you and I have talked, if I'm not mistaken, and I know you will correct me if I'm wrong,
Hmm.
that, you know, that this process and how we evolve is more the miracle than we are, you know, because we're
Right.
just, you know, kind of vessels in this, you know.
Yeah,
I mean,
right. We tap into it. We make that choice to become a part of this thing that is bigger than ourselves.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't. I guess I've never really, like woken up or stood up and be like, "Huh, I am a miracle."
Right.
um, what I've become, as a human being and who I am to other people and all that stuff
Hmm.
is a miracle based on the way
Hmm.
that I was, and I know that I think you'll agree on the way that you were, but
Sure.
I don't know. In some people might be thinking that it's kind of slicing everything kind of thin, but to me, I don't know. I need to make that separation based on because I'm a fucking egotist,
Right.
and if I sit there and I'm like, hey,
Hey,
hello there, I'm a miracle. Have you
I'm a
met me?
right. I'm fucking glowing.
Well, it just reminded me too when we had talked to a couple of the podcasts we were on when people ask about
Hmm.
depression and stuff like that, and I really didn't want to, I really wasn't saying that hey I was depressed. I was in these depressive states and whatever, and I was depressed based
Hmm.
on certain things, but
Right.
I wasn't what I look at people. People have it true depression and all those different things. And I
Hmm.
kind of look at it the same way, that I mean, all of us are, that again, the process is a miracle. What we're able to
Right.
become and grow. But then again, we have to take the action to do the work,
Right.
right? And I think that was in
Absolutely.
there.
Hmm.
But the couple of things that I wrote down, obviously, monster or miracle.
Hmm.
Obviously that was that was right in the beginning. Not alone in our actions, destroying everything, and I forget the rest of the sentence, but I think that about covers it. And then
Hmm.
miracles in the making, which yeah, I mean the
Yeah.
process, but
Right.
also the last one, which I thought was probably the that hit me the most, is just living example, and
Hmm.
and that's exactly what we talk about because it doesn't matter what we did yesterday or how good we
Hmm.
were to people yesterday. We
Hmm.
have to continue to live as the right examples, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Never stop.
Yeah,
um,
that's been the key of a lot of our conversations too. Just don't
uh-huh.
stop.
Just don't fucking stop, man. Right. Yeah. We talked about in the last episode, the sponsor thing. I met with my sponsee yesterday, and yeah, I had that conversation with him about, um, it's all about the action and it's all about what we do, and told him the story about walking into who do you know and how you feeling. We don't care, what are you doing. um right, yeah, and I was making the point to him pretty emphatically yesterday, and he was trying to argue with me because, of course, that's what sponsees do. Um, telling him, no, man, I am that monster. It's pretty funny that I found that today.
Right.
I was going, no, dude, no, I'm a rotten fucking person, man. I'm a liar, cheat, and a thief, and I'm not, and I still am that person. And he's going, no, man, look at the stuff you do, and blah blah. I said, no, man, I do this stuff because I follow these principles. We were going over the first step a little more intensely yesterday, and I was going, no, man, I don't act that way anymore, but I'm still that person. I'm still an alcoholic, and I'm still a drug addict, and I'm still a thief and a cheat. And I just, I'm a thief that doesn't steal. I'm a cheat that plays by the rules. I'm a liar that tells the truth. I'm a drunk that doesn't drink, and I'm a junkie that doesn't do dope anymore. But I'm still all that shit, man. It's never going to go away. So yes, I've got to remember that monster is still inside of me. And yes, on the outside, I am a miracle that I do these things that I do. That is a fucking miracle.
Right.
But like you said, it's because I have tapped into the miracle. It's not because I am the fucking miracle.
Right. But the reason I keep laughing at that, because seriously, it wouldn't take me long to sell myself on that shit. Be like,
Oh
yeah,
God, yeah.
no, no, wait a second. Have you met me type of thing again,
Right.
I mean, look at all the things that I've done. And, I mean,
Look how goddamn wonderful I am.
I was just going to say, I'm fucking wonderful. But it's funny that it made me think about, and I don't know if somebody used it as an example, but I know it's used as an example with motivation. They say
Mhm.
motivation doesn't last. Neither does a shower. That's why you recommend doing it daily. So
Mm.
that's motivation. But this thing too, it just popped into my head, and it's the same thing, you know. So you can walk up to somebody right after you get out of the shower and like, look at me, I'm all fresh and clean, and I don't stink. Well, if you
Mhm.
stop taking a shower, you may be okay tomorrow and the next day, but you're gonna fucking
Mhm.
smell pretty goddamn quick. Which is the
Right.
same thing that's going to happen to us if we stop, quote
Mhm.
unquote, bathing in our
Right.
sobriety.
Yep.
we're we're gonna get fucking stinky pretty goddamn quick, you know.
Yes, we are.
So, and that's the when you were saying that about telling, no, I am horrible, which which made me laugh. But I mean, to somebody who doesn't necessarily can't wrap their head around it yet, it's funny. But
Right.
it is. It's just saying to somebody, no, I'm still this person. I'm not recovered. I'm recovering.
Mhm. Right.
I'm not. I haven't gotten this yet. I'm still trying to get it. I'm still striving
Mhm.
for it. All
Yep.
those different things, and saying that. We're I don't know, maybe that's the point with saying I'm a miracle. I mean, if something was a miracle, it's
Mhm.
fucking done. I mean, I've gotten the miracle. I don't need to do anything more. I have arrived.
Right.
So I'm the fucking miracle.
Have been washed in the fire.
Right. Yeah, I got nothing more to do, man.
Yeah.
Look at me. I'm a fucking
Mhm.
miracle.
Right.
But
Nope.
yeah, yeah, not even goddamn close. But because yeah, all
No.
it takes is, the one little thing for either one of us to lose our heads at. Granted, we're a hell of a lot better, than we were years ago. But both of us, it
Sure.
doesn't take much for any one of us. And I mean, people in recovery, to still
Mhm.
people are going to piss you off. Life happens, all those different things. Yes,
Yeah.
we can control ourselves, hopefully a little bit better based on all the shit that we have, and these
Right.
tools that
The
we have.
tools
But
in our toolbox, right?
yeah, but it doesn't take that long to pull that monster up out of the ashes because, like you said,
Mhm.
it's fucking there. It's easily there.
Oh yeah.
You know.
He was poking his head out quite a bit today.
so I gotta tell you a quick story. I did not lose my head
Right.
about this, but
Mhm.
I got to be the male version of a Karen today when I got my pizza, and I almost felt stupid. But so I think everyone out there knows that Mike and I get pizza on Friday, with very, very few
Right.
exceptions. Like last
Mhm.
week, we went to dinner for Kathy's birthday. I did not get pizza.
Right.
I had a
Right.
a wonderful fettuccine alfredo. So,
Mm.
um, but 9 times out of 10, we get pizza. So
Right.
Domino's also is a place that both of us go. They do a decent
Ah.
job, relatively inexpensive. It's not. I
Right.
used I used
Yeah.
to say Domino's was cheap and quick and easy. Now it's
Eh.
just quick and easy. It's not always cheap.
Mm. Mm. Right.
But I get what I get because I want it. So did the same thing, ordered my pizza from the same place, and I've been going to this place since I've been down here. So every fucking week.
Right.
And just like Little Caesars did in Wisconsin, just like Domino's did, every once in a while it's like, just not that many toppings on it, right? And you're like, eh.
Right.
Then the next
Yeah.
week it's like super full, and you're like, this is cool. And then,
Right.
so this and that. And the only reason I opened up the box while I was inside there tonight,
Mhm.
because it wasn't closed all the way. It was like a piece of the cardboard was ripped, so the box wasn't closing all the way. So I opened
Mhm.
it up and I looked, and I mean, there's like hardly any toppings on it, and I'm just like, you fucking kidding me? So I'm looking at it, and I called one of the guys over, and I told him, and he said, "Do you want to talk to a manager?" And again, at that moment, I'm like,
Mm.
"Fuck, I don't want to be that guy." But
Right.
you know what? I said in my head, I'm like, I even told the guy, I said, I don't want to complain about this, but I come here every week. And I said,
Right.
in my head, I'm like, you guys do better than this almost
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Manager comes
Right.
over, apologizes, makes the new pizza and stuff like that. But I felt
Uh-huh.
weird doing it. But then I'm like, you know what?
Uh-huh.
Every once in a while, I don't do that often, but I want a nice pizza with some fucking toppings on it.
Yeah. Right. I mean, yeah, that's picking and choosing, balance, all that good stuff.
Right,
Occasionally, it's okay to stand up for yourself.
right,
I mean, it is tough for us to do that sometimes in this process because, we're constantly focused on we're not the center of the universe and we're, all that good stuff. But once in a while, it's okay to stand up for yourself. There ain't enough shit on my pizza, man. Make this right. You guys are better than this,
right.
and we can rationalize it and say, hey man, we're helping them out by making them be better. and
Yeah.
keeping a customer. And maybe the next person that gets a pizza won't get that shitty pizza, and they'll be happy and they'll come back again. See, I can
Well,
rationalize and justify anything.
and what's funny is it's and they've known me for a long time because I come in there again
Right.
every Friday night, and
Right.
I've had a couple of people say that I can't, I should know your name by now, or they'll see me walk in
Mm-hmm.
and they grab my pizza like you, going into your
Yeah.
Domino's, and I mean
Right.
that guy really knows you.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
in the same thing
He
that
actually, it was funny. I got mine tonight, right? I was sitting out in the car. I grabbed it because another guy handed it to me that my dude was back there making a pizza. And so I grabbed mine, didn't look. I never look. And I'm sitting in my car, start my car, get ready to pull out. And he comes running out and he's all, hey man, I think they gave me the wrong pizza. And yeah, and they had given me the wrong pizza. It was mine. And it was just, yeah, it is nice, being a part of,
right,
walking into fucking Domino's and having people know you. It's
right.
nice. And you're not a dick, and they're happy to see you, and you're a good customer, and a good citizen, and like all the reading fucking said, man, we get to be that today.
Well, and I do usually when I go to my car, I look at the pizza for one reason and one reason only. When I was in Germantown, I did that one time, and it looked like they had nothing but looked like some sprinkles of something on there. And I walked back in, and the lady looked at it, and she's like, "Oh yeah, they gave you the wrong pizza." She's like, "That's all
Mm-hmm.
bacon," and I'm like, "That's
Uh,
bacon." I'm like, because I think it was during the time that you and I were doing this, or maybe it was no, it was right out of COVID where there was still, yeah, I was trying to get back for the Zoom meeting, I think for Gordon Square is what it was. Cause
mm-hmm.
I knew I had something to do and I think that's what it was. But
Right.
I mean, I would have taken one bite of it. I knew it was
Mm-hmm.
bacon and wouldn't have been able to eat it. But,
Right.
so that's the only reason I look at it, but every once in a while, it's just, you look, you're like, okay, it's not
Yeah.
it's just not as, beefed up, literally beefed up as it should be. And I'm like, oh,
Right.
okay. So,
Porked up.
yeah. But, I don't know. It's just like you said, not the center of the universe, whatever it was. I
Right.
didn't want to be that guy, but then I'm like, you know
Mm-hmm.
what? This is the one thing that I do. I don't go out to dinner a lot.
Right.
I kind of want to.
Yeah.
I want a nice
I want
pizza.
this right. Yeah. Yeah. Nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for
Sure.
co-signing my Karenisms.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So, but that was a good reading. The funny part is I actually, and that was back from March. I remember that one
Yeah.
almost as you were
Mm,
reading it. I remember that almost to a T. Maybe
mm,
that one kind of sat with me well. So,
mm.
but I like that. I mean, it made it's everything on there. I, of course, always agree with the readings for the most part.
Sure.
But,
Right.
yeah, that one was good. The whole, I mean, again, the
Yeah.
whole monster thing. So, well, cool. So,
Yeah.
what do you think? Should we pop into? Do you still have your book there? I actually grabbed.
It's right here.
Okay. I grabbed a 12 and 12 too, just in case. But
Huh?
oh,
Well, I
that's
mean, I
right. Yeah,
could
you
read
always got it
this.
in the book.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. All right. So this is the 11th month. We will talk about the 11th step.
Right.
Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out.
So, you and I have talked about meditation quite a bit, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean the general consensus is as far as whatever we think the definition is of true meditation, which is
Mm-hmm.
usually, if nothing else, sitting quietly, right, and taking
Sure.
in whatever. People call it the
Mm-hmm.
universe or trying to stay quiet and calm. Some people do. What do they call them? Guided meditations. I don't even know what
Sure.
all that shit is, but I think it's actually people you can listen to a recording and it will guide you through exactly what to do. That makes sense to
Mm-hmm.
me, but I don't even know.
Right.
But
And controlled breathing,
yeah,
yeah,
who was just telling us
you know,
about that? The controlled breathing. Somebody was
I couldn't
Heidi.
tell you.
Heidi.
Ah, right. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I was trying to think it was recently, but
Mm-hmm.
so unless I'm mistaken, I mean, I don't think that you've taken up a meditation practice recently, right?
No, I mean, other than floating, which I've talked about.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Which is once a month because I can't afford more. And, but yeah, and actually, when I go in the tank, I do some controlled breathing, and yeah, it's I love it. I would love to do it more, but again, can't afford it. But yeah, that's like the most regulated, regimented, whatever meditation. like we've said a million times on here, we start our day off with these books, put some good thoughts in our head, and roll them around.
Right.
That's my daily meditation, and I know yours too. Quite often I will spend an hour or so. You guys know I drive for a living. I'll spend an hour or sometimes even two with, the radio off and just quiet and just driving. And that's meditative. Just thinking and being quiet and being in, my little space there, and, trying not to kill people that cut in front of me.
Right.
But yeah, again, I'm not the guy who's going to sit cross-legged with incense burning around me going om.
Right.
That's not me.
Well,
but yeah.
And, I'm the same way sometimes driving, and I've been, not long trips with the exception of the one I took, last month, but, even driving out to Ohio or going up to Wisconsin and that sort of thing. And, I've spent some time in the car, over the last month or so. And a lot of times I'll listen to podcasts and things like that.
Sure.
I still I'll listen to music, but I listen to more podcasts than I do, music now when I'm driving.
Oh yeah.
And
me too.
And even here when I'm working and stuff like that, if I'm on the phone, obviously I can't, but if I'm doing something else where I can listen, it's usually podcast, and it's usually recovery podcast, because I don't know, I get to that point where I know when I need that, which is a good thing, and I know when it's okay for me to just, fucking blow my ears out with whatever the hell I want to listen to. But it's a balance thing, which we've talked about. And sometimes, I'm just driving along and I get sick of whatever fucking voices even coming out of the speakers with good recovery stuff. And I'm like, fuck this, boop, turn it off. And especially when I took that, again, the Ozarks, and when I went out to Memphis and in Oklahoma City, parts of that drive, and especially when I was kicking around the Ozarks, a lot of times I just turned just didn't have anything on, because I was just, not that I can't, there's the old joke, old people and stuff, turn down the radio when they're trying to find something, and it's fine. If somebody wants to say that, I give a fuck. But the other thing too is it does. I wanted to just sit there and focus and kind of take in shit, and not having, I don't know, I don't need as much background noise these days as I used to, which is cool. But then, like you said, every once in a while, it's just nice to, especially driving, just sit and think and not really, or maybe not even think, just listen to the fucking road,
Yeah, right. The home of the highway.
Yeah. The home of the highway. That sounds like a song or something.
Probably.
I'm sure. We looked up lyrics for hummin' the highway. But so yeah,
getting a Hummer on the highway. Anyway,
right? Yeah, I'll turn the radio off for that too.
Yep, absolutely. Got to focus.
Right. But so the meditation thing, again, we don't do whatever and I don't want to say traditional thing is, but maybe we don't do again, quiet incense, saying Om type of meditation, but we do even at night when I just thought about that at night when when I do my prayers. I kind of recap my day, and that's what I do first, as I do that, like the recap and the 10-step type of thing. And sometimes I'll just sit there for a couple of minutes and lay there because I'm in my bed. But, just kind of lay in bed and, at that point, kind of think about the day type of thing, just quietly and figure out, is there, I know there's no other shit pretty much in my head that I got to figure out. But, it's taking those little moments, I think, that are more important, or not more important, just as important as, sitting down and saying, okay, now I'm going to meditate,
Yes. Oh. Sorry. I was coughing.
Oh no, that's
I muted myself.
Yeah. And the funny thing was, I'm like, fuck me. I lost him. But then I looked down, I saw your mute button. So I'm like, cool. But
yeah. Oh no, still here. I just had to meditate for a second.
Right. That's what you should have said. You're like, oh, let's just meditate. But no, I think it's important just to, have those quiet moments throughout the day, just as much as, having
absolutely.
some focus
and you kind of touched on it, that we can be quiet. We don't need that external stimuli all the time like we used to drown out that nonsense in our heads.
Right.
We've drowned a lot of it out already, so we can sit there and be quiet and peaceful It's nice.
It is.
Yeah, it's one of the promises, man. Peace and serenity.
Yeah, and when this the same thing when I was in, even when I was in Beaver Dam, and again like the Ozarks and stuff like that, having just sitting, outside on the balcony, the patio,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that, and just I don't know, just staring at nothing,
Right.
because I don't have many times. And part of it is just the way I'm built. I mean, I can't sit still. I always have to be doing
Mm-hmm.
something. I don't always
Right.
need background noise, but a lot of times I wouldn't even have the background noise, but I'm usually doing something, just kind of, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
the way I'm wired, I guess. But, every once in a while just sit there and, someplace peaceful like that and do fucking nothing,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's for 5 minutes. I mean, it's beautiful,
Right.
fucking wonderful,
Yep.
you know?
Yep.
So the other part of it, obviously prayer and meditation, conscious contact through or with God as we understood or understand him, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So uh, once again, I think everyone realizes that or knows you're an atheist, I'm agnostic, but we
Right.
still have in that circumstance, perfect example where either one of us may read the words, but we're going to, be envisioning whatever our higher power is, or again,
Mm-hmm.
something greater than ourselves. But
Right.
so both of us do a set of prayers. I think mine is more probably I don't want to say more extensive, but probably longer than yours. I
Well,
think you have a relatively
well,
short, prayer thing.
I do.
Um,
Yep.
but we do them.
Oh yeah.
And I think it does. It's first of all, we were told to do it, and we
Right.
don't know why it works necessarily still to this day, but it
Mm-hmm.
does. And I know for a fact that if either one of us didn't do it, it just wouldn't feel right, right?
Oh yeah. Exactly. Right. I mean, it's just become part of what we do. But yeah, like you said, it's an action that they told us that we have to take to do this thing. So we take the action. We do it. And again, talking to my sponsor yesterday, I was like, "Hey, man, it doesn't matter if you think anything's listening or not. It really doesn't. You do what you're told to do. What's suggested." Um, yeah, yeah. Again, pray, go to meetings, help another drunk. Okay,
Right.
but I don't think anything's listening. So, who fucking cares? If this is part of the program. Do you want to do the program? Do you want to get the results of the program? Yes, I do. All right, well then, this is part of the program, so do it. Yeah, it's the 11th step, man. Sought through prayer and meditation. Do I pray the way probably most people do? No. Do I meditate the way most people do? I don't know, maybe, but I do it. That's the whole point. I take the action. I do it. I pray
Right.
twice a day. Say please in the morning and thank you at night. Yeah, that's it. And the meditation, again, put these thoughts in my head, roll them around first thing in the day to get my day going, to realize I am not the center of the universe. I'm not running this shit. Um, there are better ideas out there than mine. And I remind myself of that every day
Right. Yeah.
because I have to.
Yeah, I know. And it's a tough thing because I mean I think I'm more egotistical than you, but I'm better. I mean I know I'm better than sure as hell better
Right?
than I was, but um, yeah, that's still one of my problem areas. But so the other thing too, praying for the knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. So
Mm-hmm.
that's something that I mean I think. Well, not even think. We do that all the time.
Right.
Your will, not mine. I mean
Yeah.
that's what it is. That's that simple statement, your will not mine, or something else's will not
Right.
mine. And it's
Oh yeah. I mean, when we do the Lord's Prayer at the end of every meeting, the only part I say is, thy will be done.
right.
Because it's the only part of it that makes any sense to me, that applies to me. The rest of it, I do something else. I sing the Beatles, All You Need Is Love.
Right.
And I have for over 13 years.
Right.
I've got it timed out that it works out exactly the same as the Lord's Prayer.
which again is really cool, and I know I've said this on here before, but to begin with, I think when you and I started going to more meetings together where we were actually
Mhm.
standing next to each other, and I heard that,
Right.
I know for a fact I asked you about it,
Hmm.
because I did. I mean, I didn't think you'd have a problem with me asking, and you gave me
No,
the same
right,
you gave me the same answers you just gave now, fucking
right,
13 some years ago. But
yeah,
and it was, I don't know, it's something, it's like it comforting, yeah, maybe it is. It's a comforting
mm,
thing when I hear you say that because I know where it comes from. And
hmm,
knowing what people do and how people stay sober and the process that they go through and stuff like that is very cool to me because once again, we've talked about this a million times. You and I don't look the same. We didn't come from the same background. We had all these
right,
different things happen, but literally ended up at the same place within days of each other on the same
hmm,
fucking porch step at the Keating Center,
yep,
and
yep.
and broken in the same number of fucking pieces. I mean,
Yes, we were.
how does that happen? Um, you want to talk about miracles?
Right.
um, but hearing all these different things that people do, I know that speaking of Michael, I mean, he's been very open about it.
Hmm.
Him and Megan pray together. They talked about that
Sure.
years ago, and I think that's one
Hmm.
of the most. That's got to be one of the most number one intimate and beautiful things that a couple can do together. And I
Right.
don't know. I mean, maybe I would do that someday with somebody, but I mean
Hmm.
that time is mine. It's always been mine, and I'll talk about it.
Right.
It's not like I hide the fact that I pray and do these different things and do these readings, but it's also mine. It's my time.
Hmm.
You know, but
That's right, Mr. Hand.
that's so great, and that'll always come up now because that came up with the on the episode with Katie, Mr. Hand.
Hmm.
But a couple of the things that I always do, that I always say, and it was something a guy said at one of the meetings, and we were still at the Keating Center, still doing the
Hmm.
walk and all that stuff. Because I remember thinking about this and adding this, to my prayers at that time. About he every day he said I asked for the strength, and he said the strength to
Yep.
do whatever, but um, I always say that. I said, give me the strength, and I think that's
Yep.
probably where I follow up with, because I'm powerless over and blah, blah, blah. But, I
Hmm.
do. I just give me the strength. And the other thing
Yep.
too, and I'm not telling anyone how to say prayers or whatever, but we were always taught, well, let me step back. I did not know how to pray.
Hmm.
I had no fucking idea. I was so happy when we were in group. It couldn't have been more than the first week or so, maybe a couple of weeks. And one of the guys, God only know who it was, but raised his hand and just said, he goes, what do I do? I have no idea how to pray. And in my head, I'm like, thank you.
Mm.
I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Right. Right.
And in my prayers, again, whether they're traditional or whatever, it doesn't fucking matter. I've got a thing I do now, and I built on it over the years. But the whole point, what I was getting at, is that it was suggested to us to not pray for ourselves. Pray for other
Right.
people, and good
Hmm.
things happen. And the only thing that I ever, kind of, and it's right at the end of my prayers, I just ask to be kept healthy. For
Yeah.
my health. That's it. But
Huh?
here's the thing, though. I still got to do the fucking work. I
Yep.
can't walk around and, doing whatever I feel like doing, and then be like, hey, by the way, keep me healthy, man.
Yeah. Hey, keep me healthy as I shove my third Big Mac down my
Yeah,
face.
yeah, Big Mac or whatever the fuck it is, eating right,
Uh-huh.
not getting enough sleep. Well, I do drink a lot of
Hmm.
coffee, but those sort
Yeah.
of things. But that's the
Right.
only thing. And other than that, I mean, I pray for other people and, for other
Yeah.
people in their lives and for their circumstances and that sort of thing. And that helps me. It makes me feel, I guess, makes me feel good about myself, because I, I,
Hmm.
I don't know if it changes
Absolutely.
anything, but
Right. Yeah. Well, it changes your attitude and therefore, the way you interact with other people, yeah, I mean, one of the few things that I remember from the first time I tried to get sober, um, on the prayer thing, they told us you can't have any gimme prayers,
oh, okay.
which I
Right.
liked. Yeah, right. Yeah. Because I mean, that was, anytime we pray, most of us, speaking of us alcoholics and drug addicts, when we prayed in the past, it was, get me out of this jackpot, or, make sure the dope man shows up on time. Please, God, I need a fix. Um, Yeah, give me
Right.
prayers. Make me rich, make me, whatever. Let my car run better. Whatever, fucking crazy shit like that. Doesn't
Right.
work. Yeah. So you can't have nothing for me, in my prayers other than the strength to do what I have to do to stay sober this day. That's my only gimme. Give me the strength I need to do what I got to do to stay sober today. That's pretty much my please prayer in the
Right.
morning. And yeah, and again, I don't expect any help really. I've got to do the shit. I just need to remind myself that, again, that's the reminder that I have to do it. And I have to find that inner strength within myself. It's there. I just need to access it.
Right. Well, and I've heard, eh, I think since, but I mean, certainly in early recovery, heard people talking about that, people that gave up on God, which, thankfully when I came in,
Mm-hmm.
I had no opinion on whatever the traditional, mainstream God thing is. I had no
Mm-hmm.
opinion on it. I just didn't have a background in it. So I didn't have a problem, I don't know, taking in some of that stuff. And then, again, using the words how I wanted to or whatever they were. But
Mm-hmm.
so many people said, "Oh, this and that," and I was always going to church and praying, and somebody died, and no, my prayers didn't get answered, and what type of God would do this
Uh-huh.
and do that and that sort of thing, and I thought
Right.
that was even at the time before I really had, I don't know, even a conception of what my higher power was. In my mind,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's kind of fucked up, and
Mm-hmm.
because and then I kept hearing it through the time that Larry was sick, and for everyone, if you forget, Larry was my stepdad, and he got
Mm-hmm.
he got sick January of the first in our first year. So what,
Right.
9 months, 8 9 months sober in that area when he
Right.
started getting
Yeah.
sick, and then he died
Mm-hmm.
a year and a month, after we got sober, and
Mm-hmm.
my prayers for him, changed over that 6 month period. It's kind of like, okay, praying for his his decent health, praying for him to get better. Then, it came all the way
Mm-hmm.
down to the point where before he died, is just kind of praying for him to, you know, um, I don't know, keep some whatever dignity he wanted because he's a super proud
Mm-hmm.
man,
Sure.
but
Right.
also, to be able to deal with the pain and shit he was going through, dialysis and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right.
kind of praying for a little bit of, peace that he could have,
Mm-hmm.
and I suppose at the end I could have been, well, fucking none of that worked. So
Right.
these fucking prayers, fuck them, but I knew
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't change the world. I knew that
Right.
much. But, I think, and this might be a weird thought, but I think that us praying for other people like that actually helps us
Mm-hmm.
deal with our own shit when it comes to that, baby.
Well, of course. Right. Yeah, it should. Yeah.
Right,
What the hell else is it going to
right.
do?
No, I know. I know.
Right. I mean, it's not going to keep anybody alive. Everybody fucking
Right,
dies. Yeah. And it's right. It helps you cope and helps you to be better prepared for the people around you.
right,
Yeah. That's it. That's all. Yeah. Keep you sane and, yeah, don't keep you from being a problem,
right.
adding to the strife and the bad situation. Right. Yeah, that's all. If and that's enough. It should be enough.
Right.
I
Yeah.
would I would hope it's enough.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, it was a tough thing to deal with, that early in sobriety. But I don't know. I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
was when I look back at it now, and even with the way that I was, able to handle that, and deal with that, and allowed myself to go through the entire process. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it was good that I was able to, again, not good that it happened. I don't even know how to put this. It was an interestingly positive thing to happen to me, or for me to go through at that time of sobriety.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put it that way.
Right. 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 Yeah. Well, if nothing else, it showed you that working this program can get you through fucking
Right?
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Right. And in early sobriety, we kind of need that. We need to be shown that this shit works. Well, in later sobriety, and I would imagine, at the end of sobriety.
right.
Yeah. Again, keep reminding me that this shit works and it's going to get me through whatever this world throws at me.
Yeah. And it is, and again, back to the miracle thing. It's a miracle in my mind how once again, doing all these different things brings around so many positive things in our lives. It just
Hmm.
again, why does it work? Who fucking knows? Who fucking cares? Don't care anymore. I
Nope.
don't care why. I just know it does. Right.
Hmm. Right.
All right. So on that note, what do you think? Break time?
Yep. Yep. We'll definitely take a break here. We're going to talk more about, God, no, I'm not even going to say that because that's sick. Um, See, my thoughts are still wrong,
Right.
kids. We'll be back with more interesting conversation right after these words from our sponsor.
Hey everyone, it's your friends at Sober Not Mature.
Hi
And
there.
yes, it's both of your friends this time. Hi Mike, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, Bill?
I am doing well, but we do have a purpose. We actually usually talk about our one website, but we actually have two websites now. So we wanted two websites in one. All right, so everyone knows we still have the podcast website that is www.SoberNotMature.com. And we just launched the store website, so we also have that. Do you know what the website address is on that one, Mike?
Of course I don't.
It's pretty easy, Mike. It's
Yes.
www.SoberNotMatureShop.com.
Ah.
But from the podcast website, you can still hit the store link and get into the web store, or you can
Right.
access it from our Instagram page through the highlights. We've been posting quite a bit about it, and we'll continue to do that. But do you know what's on the second website, Mike?
Well, there's a store. There are products that you can purchase for you and your loved ones.
Well, Mike, do we still have merchandise?
We have merchandise. Well, we got T-shirts and coffee mugs and all kinds of crap.
And one of the coolest parts, we also do have all the recovery books from Hazelden, which is kind of a big deal.
That is
at
a
least,
big deal.
at least for us. So all the books that we read, God Grant Me, 24 Hours, the Big Book, the 12 and 12, all of those books are available for sale on our website. And
They
once
are.
again, that store website is www.sober.
Trying to help, man.
I know you are. You're not helping though. Okay, now I gotta say www.SoberNotMatureShop.com.
.com.
.com. Visit that today, or visit the podcast website, which is again, the podcast website. So
www.SoberNotMature.com.
did you just say sober but not mature?
Yeah, sure. Write that down.
Yeah, like fucking mush mouth or something. All right, everyone, you've suffered enough with this, and we'll get back to what we were talking about previously. So visit the websites, though. All right, everyone, welcome back. And I am dying to ask you, but I'm not going to make you say it. I'm just not.
Yeah.
I'm not. But in my head, I got a 1,000 different thoughts. But I'm like, it's good. The fact that you caught yourself, you just you were proving something. Everything we were just talking about, you just showed. Yes.
Right.
You just gave an example.
Exactly.
But
This bad thought was going to come out of my mouth, and I went, no, don't need to do that.
hey, you caught it. And see, that's a good thing. Yeah,
Yep.
see, like you said, see, kids,
It is.
thoughts are still fucked up,
See?
but we don't know how it works, but you literally just saw it work or heard it work.
Yep.
Heard it work.
Picture it in your mind.
Right. So, yes, I mean, the other thing, are we good on step 11? I mean, I think that
I think
we
so.
covered
Right.
everything.
Yeah, take the action. Doesn't matter. If you believe it or not, do it. And if you do believe it, you got a leg up on us. So good for you.
Right. And, I mean, that's the main thing. You don't have to believe in anything in particular. We talked about that, till we're fucking blue in the face. It doesn't have to be one thing. Just know it's not you,
Oh.
and that's all.
Right.
That's all we got to do.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, obviously, we've been through the last week or so, and had the posts and stuff like that on Instagram and obviously over on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Replayed the clips from the episode that we did a year ago when our mom died, and that was October 30th of 2022. So a little over a year and a few days ago. But
Right.
the main thing is, I don't know, Mike and I talked about that, about doing the episode clips, and I'm one of those people where, like, well, the anniversary of my stepdad I was just talking about when he died. To begin
Mm-hmm.
with, I used to make probably more open posts about it, and I do what I feel on that day. Sometimes I'll just put his picture up. Sometimes I'll just post a picture of him. Sometimes I'll post something if it's in my heart or my mind. Same thing that when my anniversary when my dad died. If anyone ever sees this picture of a tree, whether it's a black and white
Right.
tree or a tree in general, around the middle of March, March 14th to be exact, that's where my dad's ashes are sprinkled. And sometimes I just post that picture. So.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing with our mom. I didn't really know what we were going to do or if we were going to do. So the one thing that we had talked about was, hey, let's rerun the episode clips, at least get those back out there. Kind of a nice little tribute to, if nothing else, a reminder of everything that that we kind of processed through. But then we figured
Mm-hmm.
that, what the hell, man? Well, if we got anything on our minds to talk about tonight, we will, and if not, that's cool too. We've processed
All
through all
right.
this stuff in the last year, but it's been a hell of a year.
It has.
and and I don't mean that in a bad way. It hasn't been a bad year. It's just been it probably I don't know, a couple hours ago. I think when I was going to get my pizza, it was
Uh,
kind of, I'm thinking, I'm like, fuck, man, I can't even. It's probably the first time I started to think about the fact of literally that it's been a year. I
all
mean,
right.
this year just seems like it's done a lot of shit, good things, a lot of in the last
Right.
year, but it really seemed like it flew by, doesn't it? I mean,
Yeah, they keep getting smaller.
right, right. It does. It does seem that way, when you're a kid and you're in school, and these fucking school
Right.
years last forever, and summers, drive by like a fucking freight train. But I don't know. It just seemed like it went by really quickly, So, um, but kind of
Yeah.
like that first year of sobriety, a little bit different because I think that first year of sobriety, I mean, there was so many things that we were dealing with and trying to wrestle with, I guess. But I suppose, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
here and there, we had some things to wrestle with throughout this year. But it was almost the same way that first year of sobriety seems to go pretty quick, and then it's just all of a sudden like it's your
Mm.
year, and then this one's been a year. I just don't even know if that's a decent example. I don't know.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, well, it's kind of like, when you're, like when you're 4 years old, right? A year is a fucking quarter of your life,
Right,
you know.
right.
Now it's 156th of my
Right.
life, almost 157. Yeah. So, right. They're just like I said, they keep getting smaller. It doesn't seem like it's been a year, but I mean, we all, Kathy posted, you posted, I posted on our social media stuff, on the day. Um, Kathy reposted, the thing she read at the
Right.
funeral, which was interesting to read
Hmm.
again. Um, yeah, it was touching. It was beautiful then. It was beautiful a year later. Um, you posted a bunch of pictures. I posted one. It's my favorite one. It was when we went to that preseason football game when the Packers were up here in
Yep.
Cleveland. And we were all, well, we were what? That was less than a year, right?
No, it
No,
was
no, year and a half. Yeah, year. Yeah,
year and
that's
a few
right.
months.
That was the
Yeah.
second. Yeah, right. Yeah, it was the second one. That's right. Yeah, but still fairly early. Just a little over a year being sober, and yeah, that's right, because Larry had just passed a couple of months before
Yeah.
that, and I just remember, I remember walking with mom. It was one of my favorite memories with her. Early on, it was the first time I really realized how much I cared for this woman. We were walking through the crowd, and Browns fans are dicks, and you guys were all packered out. I had a Black Misfits T-shirt on because I didn't care about either one of the teams. Still don't. And but yeah, we're walking through, and you guys are all, in your green and gold, and the Dick Cleveland fans are, saying things to you guys and yelling. And mom, I could tell, was getting a little uncomfortable from it. Christ, Larry had just been, her man was fucking gone just a couple of months, and I don't know, I just felt her uncomfortableness, unease, whatever it was. It wasn't huge or
Right.
anything, but I went I just fucking sidled right up next to her and stood up as big and tall as I could and said, "You know what? You're walking with me." I didn't even say that. It was just in my head. It's like I'm getting right next to her. I'm walking with her as big as I fucking can, and you motherfuckers better back off or I'm gonna hurt
Right.
you. And like I said, it's the first time I got to put into action my feelings for that
Right.
woman. And so I love that picture of us just sitting there, and we had just gotten to our seats when that picture was taken. So I was still all pumped up and, ready to kick some ass for her. And I love that
Right.
picture. So, yeah.
Well, in that day too, and I didn't think about it until we were standing in line. I think I was in line with Derek, and was going to get a soda, and we were going to get a couple of things, and then
Right.
it just occurred to me that was the first like big drinking event that I had ever been at. I mean, it's a fucking football stadium,
Sure.
And I realized at that point I was so pissed off at the crowd and everything else we were trying to get
Uh-huh.
through that it was cool.
Right.
I was more pissed off about the crowd than I was realizing that I'm in the middle of a fucking alcohol event, But
Uh-huh.
so I do remember too, because even at that time, and that was 2011. Okay, so
Right.
11 years ago now. If you remember correctly, because I walked up the outer ramp with the kids, and then you,
Mm-hmm.
Kathy, and
Mm-hmm.
Mom went up the elevator because she was having,
Right.
she could walk and stuff, but her COPD was even
Sure.
kicking in at that point. And then
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I remember that just clicked into my head because that's why you went that way and we went the other way. But yeah, once
Mm-hmm.
we got up to the stands, and because I think when Kathy took that picture, you hadn't found us yet because I got up with the kids.
Mm.
We couldn't find you guys. And I just sat down with the kids figuring, fuck this. I was just so pissed. And then I remember looking over at Derek, and he's sitting on the edge of his seat. He's got his baseball hat on, his Packer hat on, his Packer jersey
Mm-hmm.
on, his Amon Green Packer
Mm-hmm.
jersey, and a big old
Right.
fucking smile. And I'm all fucking grumbly, and I'm just, oh, you fucking people, you drunk ass motherfuckers, you Cleveland Browns fuckers. And I
Uh-huh.
looked over at him, and I'm like, you're really enjoying yourself, aren't you? And he's like, yeah, I really am. And I was like, it was like that thing where this whole level of calm just kind of washed over me. Cause I'm like, again, back to
Mm-hmm.
the point where that was the first time that I really figured out, probably not first time, but a main time, and
Mm.
realized that just wasn't all about me. And that's kind of what you were just talking
Right.
about. It wasn't about you walking through there. It was you making sure that somebody
Uh-huh.
else was taken care of, and me making sure that,
Yep.
not even making sure, but just basking in the fact that this little boy's having the time of his fucking life because he's never been to a football game
Mm-hmm.
before.
Right. Yeah. In a NFL
Yeah.
stadium. Yeah. 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 Pushed right in your faces,
I know.
man. It's pretty fucking
Yeah,
nice.
I know. But yeah, I mean, it's been, like Kathy had said right after Mom died, because her birthday was November 6th, so we got, I mean, all the
Mm-hmm.
first, as Kathy said, a lot of them out of the way right away. Last year with her
Right.
birthday was a week after. Then there was Thanksgiving, which is a big
Mm-hmm.
holiday for hers because it was a favorite of Larry's also,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what we
Right.
always get together. Then you
Yep.
got Christmas, and you got New Year's because Kathy used to do something with Mom on New Year's, and then of course the
Mm-hmm.
next one came around was Mother's Day, and that was fucking weird, and then just
Mm-hmm.
the rest of the summer just kind of blew by. But through this whole process, I mean, getting the house clean, I mean, selling the house thing wasn't a big deal. That house wasn't, and she even said it once. She said, that
Right.
house was never a home, and it wasn't. She didn't mean that in a
Mm-hmm.
bad way. It's just that she moved here,
Right.
and it was a place she lived, and she liked it, and she was comfortable there. But there's more things than four walls and a roof to make a home, and that's what she meant. So the
Right.
physical house wasn't a big deal. Cleaning out the house, that was fucking weird, but looking back now, and again, I'm just so happy that so much of her stuff got taken by these charitable people, the nuns and the other
Mm-hmm.
organizations, and it literally went to homeless people that, people were homeless and were now, kind of just getting back on their feet, just getting into their first residences,
Mm.
and
We can relate
yeah,
to that.
exactly, and I'm like, it was so fulfilling. And even though that wouldn't have
Mm-hmm.
been her necessarily, it wasn't her plan. I know she would have been
Sure.
all about that if we would have been able to make that move and we couldn't get rid of all that stuff. She would have been all about doing
Mm.
something like that because that's the way she was.
Right.
And then
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, just it's again, it's thinking back, there's so much positive to think back on. You know, there's still sadness, and there's that grief lasts
Mm-hmm.
for as long as it lasts. And I'm sure all of
Right.
us, you still have your moments every once in a while. You see something, hear something, whatever, it's just kind of like,
Oh, yeah.
okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
all right. That
Right.
sort of thing. You're like, fuck it, I get it, I get it, those little feelings are still there. But um
Of course.
it's she lived a good life. And the last couple of years were super
Mm-hmm.
rough. But she was a good person to us, and all of her all of
Mm-hmm.
her faults and funny things and all that stuff. It just it's again, all I could do is laugh and smile because same thing I said when she passed away. There was nothing unsaid, nothing undone, no
Right.
regrets. Which is
Mm-hmm.
not something I could say when my dad died because I hadn't gotten sober yet. Something I could
Right.
say when Larry passed. I didn't have any regrets there. He and I cleaned our shit up. I'm sorry, I cleaned
Yep.
my shit up with him.
Right.
Yeah, that motherfucker cleaned shit up with me, man. That's what happened.
Uh-huh.
but I mean, there's a whole different point, to that, and it just
Mm-hmm.
reminded me. Kathy and I were talking. This when did Dan pass away? Was that a couple of months ago now?
Yeah. 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 What the hell is it now? In November.
Right.
Yeah, it was still hot. Yeah, beginning of
Oh yeah,
August, because we came back for the service when we came back from our anniversary in
that's
Port
right.
Clinton. So
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, and I
yeah,
was I was
beginning of
going up to
August.
Appleton to babysit that weekend, and we were thinking it was going to be that
Mm-hmm.
next week, and then it was that literally that
Right.
weekend. But so Kathy and I were
Yep.
talking at one point. I don't remember if I brought this up again. I'm going to repeat myself, but we were talking
Yeah.
about the whole point of, I mean, obviously, with Dan passing away, or when people die sober, especially good people, people that have done
Mm-hmm.
a good job
Mm-hmm.
with their life or done good things with their life, is that I told her, I'm like, it's just not, I mean, we're sad. We miss him. We cared about him. He was a
Sure.
huge, huge part of our sobriety, especially in
Mm-hmm.
early sobriety, but all the
Mm-hmm.
way through.
Right.
But I'm like,
Yep.
it's, it's okay. You go to a funeral when somebody passes away like that, and you don't see people crying.
Mm-hmm.
You see people laughing and telling stories. And
Yep.
she's like, so it's more of like a celebration type of thing. And I said, exactly. People say that all the time.
Yep.
They're going to get together as a celebration of life. And when it comes to good sober people dying like that, that is in the
Right.
truest sense, it is a celebration of what they did. It's just
Mm-hmm.
there's not the same type of sadness and grief.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, when I went to Brownie's funeral, I mean, that was at St. Coleman's, and that place was fucking packed. There were like hundreds of people there, and like you said, it was a celebration, man. People were it was
Right.
beautiful, Catholic service and whatever. And I mean, it was cool. It was even the whatever, the service itself, the priest up there I mean, he was talking about service and doing for others, and that was Ray's whole
Right.
thing, man, was being of service. And well, that's the program. And it was hell, I liked that part. I liked the priest up there
Right.
talking, so that's how good it fucking was. Yeah, exactly. Celebration,
Right.
man. Nothing wrong with
Well,
it.
and
A life well lived. We're all going to
right.
get there. Hopefully, when it's our time, and it will be the same thing. Right? People are, again, another Babar, Babar. Right? I went to his. I didn't go to the service. I went to the visitation. Yeah, same thing, man. Joyous, people laughing, people telling stories, Yeah, he did this, he did that. Good shit. Fuck, man. If we'd have kicked before we got sober and we started working this thing, there'd have been none of that. There'd have been, if anything, there would have been a little bit of relief that we were fucking
Right.
done. Um, yeah, the son of a bitch isn't hurting me like he was. Yay, he's gone. No, it's gonna be, yeah, he did this good shit.
Right.
Hopefully, yeah, yeah, celebration. Same with mom. Yes, we were sad she was gone, but that's us being selfish. We were there to celebrate the life well
Right.
lived, and that's that's great.
Well, and we had talked about that after we got back from from the service and from Chippewa Lake and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. I mean, we had that was so nice. I mean, having everyone together, and that's one of the things we had talked about. I remember on that
Mm-hmm.
episode was that I mean,
Right.
you look back and there wasn't there was a little bit there's that again there's there's this fact that your mom just passed is in the air, but it wasn't this
Uh huh.
overwhelming grief and sadness. We were all having a great time together,
Mm-mm.
and we were
Yeah,
having
the
yeah,
family
we
was
were having
together.
that
Yeah.
celebration, and it made me think about when my first sponsor Bill had died too, in the same deal. Hundreds of people, at that service. I
Right.
couldn't even get in the actual uh, room itself, the whole church
Mm-hmm.
area. I was in like the lobby, and you
Right.
could hear the same thing, and that just reminded me that the priest was. You could tell the priest obviously knew him really well, because you could hear him
Mm-hmm.
talking. There's a little bit of recovery over here, and here's some God shit over here, and then
Mm-hmm.
here's a little bit more
Right.
recovery in here, and then a
Uh
little
huh.
bit more God stuff over here, and he just intermingled all that, and they did that at Megan and Michael's wedding, if you remember that too. It was
Right.
all about that. We'll have to. I'm sure we'll talk about the wedding because their anniversary is coming up. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
when you see that sort of thing, and I mean, God, that was a wedding, obviously not a funeral, but same deal though. Is just
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
intermingling all these things that that the things that those two had done up to that point, sober, and what these Babar. Did we ever tell that story?
So we should probably
Yeah.
explain it.
Let's
Right, real early in recovery. Bob, this guy named Bob that was at our home group. Who do you know? Good guy. Blah 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 blah. He gave me a Christmas card that first year, and he signed it Bob R. So I got back to the 3/4 house and, hey man, I got a Christmas card. I'm talking to Bill. Yeah, I got a Christmas card. Yeah, who from? Bob R. Is Bob R. the elephant?
I was,
And from then on, he was known as Babar.
I've been laughing this entire time that you're retelling that story because it was fucking funny. And we've told that. I got to collect myself here. Whew. We've told that story to people before, and fucking
Uh-huh.
Babar.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, we'd be at. Who do you know after that? One of us would always do that. You'd walk in and we're like, yeah,
Huh?
Babar.
Hey, Babar's here.
Oh. we,
We have fun,
we
kids.
are not a club lot.
We are not.
Shit. Okay, I think I'm okay. Yeah.
Sure. We could take
No,
another
I
break.
think I'm okay. I think I'm okay because
All right.
technically our breaks, nobody knows. Well, they do, but our breaks are only about 6 seconds anyhow, so it wouldn't fucking help.
Right.
Whew. Okay. But yeah. So that was a lot of fun. But there were weird times throughout this year. Like when we got and shit. I mean, since mom passed, I mean, we got the Hazelden thing, which was like one of the first things I thought
Mhm.
about. I'm like, that she would have thought that was really cool. And then the shop at the
Mhm.
store, and some of the things that we've been able to do, with again the podcast and things like that. And it
Right.
is, it's those moments you're like, damn it, that would have been a cool thing to share and that sort of thing. Kathy said the same
Mhm.
thing, um,
Right.
but yeah, it just again, those things, it is what it is, but yeah, those are those, I don't know, like those awe moments, I guess, if you want to put it that way. It's just like, okay,
Hmm.
well, that kind of sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, right. I mean, going back for Easter, going back for Thanksgiving out, this year. Yeah, it's like, shit, she's not going to be there.
Right,
God damn it. That sucks.
right. Well, there
Yeah.
was there was
Yeah.
there was one time, and it was shortly after it was shortly after Mom died, a couple of months probably. I
Hmm.
went to Kohl's and I bought something. I think it was Kohl's, I don't know. And I got like, I seriously got like this really good deal on it. And I was telling Kathy about whatever it was, and I said, yeah, I
Hmm.
said it was $21, and it was like 21.34 or something like that. And she's like, "Ooh, tax out the door," and I said, "What?" Because I knew what she was doing. I was fucking with her. She's like, "That's what
Uh-huh.
Mom used to say." I said, "She never said. She just said out the door."
Right.
She's like, "No, she said tax out the door." And I said, "Well, you know what?" I said, "You can't argue with me because you have no one to prove it." She's like, "Ooh, oh."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, yeah. You can't argue with me. You got nobody to back you up." Which again, I said it at the right time, and we had a good laugh on it. But it's just
Hmm.
one of those things where again, she would have appreciated that joke.
Yeah, of course. Yes, absolutely.
But I don't know. I mean, it's been again, it kind of all this stuff is what it is. We're not the only ones that have ever dealt with, a death in sobriety or otherwise, of course. But
Hmm.
I don't know. Listening back to
And that's kind of nice thing too. We're
right,
not alone. All these other people have gone through it too, and we've got the people to lean on, and we've got each other clearly and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, lots of people reached out to us from our group, and hey man, thinking about you, whatever. Just again, knowing that we're not alone was hugely
right.
helpful. Was to me, which is
I
very
know.
strange, but being the loner and isolator that I am, but it was very nice to have all those people knowing that they're
Right,
there. Nobody dropped off a casserole or anything, and that's fine. I didn't need a casserole.
right.
But I also know that if I said, "Hey man, I need a fucking casserole," I'd have probably got 12
Right.
of them.
Yeah, well, I mean, think about,
Yep.
when we were out at, Chippewa Lake, Kathy, well, I mean, our friend, but mainly Kathy's friend, Helen and her
Hmm.
husband brought
Right.
down
Right.
a meal for us. Our whole sober poker group,
Hmm.
got the ham and the turkey and the fixins, I think we had said.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
they people
Yeah.
took care of us from a food standpoint. We were there for, 3 days,
They did absolutely.
Um,
Yep.
but yeah, it was just everyone, like you said, people reaching out, and I did. I saw on Facebook, the couple of posts that I had done, when we, like announced
Hmm.
obviously that she had passed, and then all the people had reached out. I didn't look back at the Instagram post, but I remember it was a crazy flood of people, and people
Hmm.
that we don't know. We know from Instagram, we know from Facebook. These are not in real
Right.
life friends. And just people
Yeah.
just reaching out. But that's the thing, and I hope if anyone that's listening to us or has been listening to us, for any amount of time or just now. Here's the cool part about this whole recovery community, sober community, whether it's AA or otherwise, people are always there for you. Like
Hmm.
you said it a minute ago, Mike. Had people to lean on, and people that are there for you.
Yeah.
I've never had that before I got sober, and I had close family and stuff like that. You get friends around you, but
Hmm.
I've never had the sort of outpouring of help and comfort and all those different things that sober people bring, to the table.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's oh, it's
The love.
crazy. It's crazy, you know.
Yeah.
And if anyone does want to listen back, and I know we played all the clips from it, but it was episode 37. That's the one that we had actually talked mainly about when our mom died. An episode
Hmm.
that both of us are. I think it's fair enough to say that both of us are proud of that episode, and the fact that we were able to talk about it,
Hmm.
and even the next one, episode 38, after we got back from the funeral. Both of those, that one's not
Right.
completely all about mom, but good wrap up.
Hmm.
Of what, but
Right.
it's just us talking about, literally openly talking about everything that we did and how we got through that time. And I think that's important
Mm-hmm.
because if people, especially in early
Right.
sobriety, haven't been through that, there's a ton of things that we had never gone through before. And then once we do, we reach out and
Mm-hmm.
listen to somebody else. And, so we just happen.
Absolutely. Well, and it was, I mean, we had the discussion, it was like, are we doing an episode this week? And it was like, well,
Right.
yeah, we are, because that's what we do. Did we do our meditation that day? The following day? Of course we did. Did we do our prayers? Yes. Did we do all the things that we do? Well, then we're doing a fucking episode because it's part of what we do
Right.
to do this thing. And so we did, and again, like you said, we're pretty fucking proud of it because it was, it wasn't us, yammering and talking about hand jobs. It was, it was us being, about as raw and honest as we
Right.
can
Yeah.
be. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was funny, just out of curiosity. And again, the other day, I forget why I even thought about it. Probably when it was probably on that day or the day after when I saw the post on Facebook. I looked back at we talked about
Mhm.
recording an episode the day she died. It was that night. It was actually
Mhm.
that Sunday.
Yeah.
Because I looked back and we had texted back
Right.
and forth about something, and then the conversation was brought up, and yeah, so we talked about it that day. It's just like an immediate thing. Are we doing this
Mhm.
thing? And which again I think was hugely important that we kept our focus, because that's another kind of testament to this whole program. You said it a thousand
Yeah.
times, probably certainly more than I have, that this is what we do. This is part of our recovery. This is this thing right
Yep.
now. And once again, if there's nobody out there listening, or if people stop listening completely, after a minute or two, a couple of
Mhm.
episodes, if we get 4 people listening, we might be like, we could talk on the fucking phone if we feel like it, which we won't. So then
Right. Right. No,
then
of course not.
then we'll drop this, because then it'd be kind of an ego shot. But um
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's 4 people still listening. I think we probably still do it. There's one
yeah,
person outside of, there's one person that's like, not Kathy and not Chris and not Amber and,
right.
yeah, there's that one stranger out there in the wilderness, out in the darkness, listening to us. We're still gonna do
Yeah,
it
god damn
because
it.
what the fuck,
Okay, yeah.
man? It's
Right.
not ego. There's that one person. If they fucking need us to do this nonsense, then we're gonna fucking do it
Yeah,
for them.
see, well, there's another example, boys and girls, of where my head's at. I just said earlier in this episode, I'm a fucking egotist. I said ego shot, and he's like, no. So this is, again, 13 and a half years and almost another month on top of that.
Mm.
I got schooled by my friend Mike, which I need. I really do. So, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in other words, you fuckers keep listening, then we're going to keep on talking. How's that?
Yep. At least one of you
Right.
fuckers.
Right. Yeah. One of you a-holes has to continue to listen. So,
That's right.
anything else about the mom stuff? I mean, I kind of got all my thoughts out, I think, but
Yeah.
okay.
Me too.
Right.
Miss her, love her. She's still around because she's still in
Right.
our thoughts. That's yeah. That's
Right.
it.
Yeah, that's why I put in our post. I mean, she lives on through thankfully through this podcast, because same thing, we were able to
Mm-hmm.
do that episode. So um let I'm gonna let's talk briefly about, and we're getting close on, not close on time, but I mean we've been running
Yeah.
for a minute. But so the Matthew Perry stuff, and we talked obviously a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to read something, because I think I think everyone knows. I mean, he was clearly a public figure, and his addiction and his
Sure.
problems with alcohol and drugs and all that stuff, I think, was pretty public.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to say everyone knows about it,
Right.
but yeah, he was clearly one of us, and openly one of
Mm-hmm.
us.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
this is what. Let me start out to begin with. From what I understand, he drowned. That's what they think. And
Mm-hmm.
I've heard something
Right.
about cardiac arrest. So he might have had some sort of
Right.
cardiac incident. Went underwater and drowned. Now, I
Mm-hmm.
just heard the other day, because they had it on the radio. They said they tested for fentanyl and meth. That was the initial thing, not in his
Uh-huh.
system,
Right.
and could take 4 to
Right.
6 months for the rest. Okay. But then I
Right.
didn't know. I know he's been back and forth with his sobriety, but apparently, again, some article
Mm-hmm.
popped up that I saw that I guess the rest of the cast from Friends had said that it seems like for the last couple of years that he was sober, but doesn't mean he didn't relapse or whatever happened. But let's get to
Mm-hmm.
that in a minute. So,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Okay.
this is from just again some article that popped up, and this actually just popped up the other day. Matthew Perry said that when he died, he hoped people would remember him for his work helping people with addiction, rather than for being on the hit TV show Friends. In an interview with podcaster Tom Power in 2022, he reflected on his life, the mirage of fame, and his intense struggle with addiction. The best thing about me, this was a quote from him, bar none, is that if somebody comes to me
Mm-hmm.
and says, I can't stop drinking, can you help me? I can say yes and follow up and do that. Then he said, and this is the piece that I saw a snippet of, but then saw this in this entire article. He said, when I
Mm-hmm.
die, I don't want friends to be the first thing that's mentioned. I want the first thing that's, I want that to be the first thing that's mentioned, that I'm going to live the rest of my life proving that. That's it. Help him trying to help people. Talked about his addiction with
Mm-hmm.
opiates, blah, 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 blah. But last part of the article says, I can't describe it, something spiritual. It fills your heart. If you see the lights coming up or coming on for a new person who didn't understand, so he's talking about obviously helping people. So, to
Right.
begin with, and I saw, and Kimmy had sent me this thing, that the part about, how he wanted to be remembered. And then, of course, all your season,
Mm-hmm.
it's all about friends and all that stuff. And that's just what people are
Sure.
going to talk about. But here's the thing. So I had just heard, it was literally today when I read the article that said that, it seemed like he might have been sober for the last couple of years. I don't know, right, wrong, or different, but again, easily could have relapsed. But the other thing that this other article that I read, I guess in this memoir that he had, there's an audiobook that I might listen to.
Uh-huh.
It's on Audible, and I think I can get it. I probably just almost
Right.
giving it away now so people can listen to it. But he said that he spent like over $9 million on his recovery over the years. I'm sure, again, all these nice facilities,
Uh-huh.
but also
Right.
said in there that close to almost half his life, in these institutions and recovery programs and this and that, and again, said that he shouldn't be alive, but also there was all these other
Uh-huh.
different things, like all these other different health issues he had and all these medical things he had. And it sounded like obviously from all the, alcohol and drugs and stuff like that. So my point
Uh-huh.
is that one of two things, at least in my opinion, if I got to remind everyone, I'm not a doctor, um, but
Right.
he might have relapsed, and he could have been doing a bunch of coke and his fucking heart exploded. It's a heart incident or a cardiac incident.
Mm-hmm.
He could have
Right.
relapsed and been fucking loaded and passed out and drowned. That could have happened, or
Mm-hmm.
just from all the
Right.
damage he did over the years. He could have had a heart attack at 54. It's not normal, for your everyday person to have a
Right.
heart attack at
Oh.
54. But the unfortunate part is that unless I'll be shocked if we hear something differently, that this didn't have something to do with his alcohol and drug abuse.
Of course. Yeah. Directly
Correct.
or indirectly. Of
Right.
course it did. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Normal, regular people don't drop dead at
Right.
54.
Right.
Yeah. Especially people with a lot of money. It just
Right.
doesn't happen. Right. Yeah. Right. I've seen several articles online and stuff too. One of them, the one that stuck out to me and bothered me the most was he was talking about helping people, and I guess he bought and you know um, funded a
Right.
sober house in I think Santa Monica or something, someplace down there in L.A. And all that stuff. And the quote was, and I'm going to paraphrase it, but he said basically, look, if you need help, and you kind of touched it on the quote you said, if you need help, I can help you. I know how to do that. I can, I have the knowledge to do that. And then the second part of what I read, the quote from him was, I can't always, apply it to myself. Again, paraphrasing
Right.
wildly, but I can help you. I have the knowledge. I know how this thing works. I can't always apply it to myself. And I was like, okay, well, yeah, shit, I have the knowledge too. But if I'm not working it, I can't fucking help anybody
Right.
else. I mean, yeah, if I've got a lot of money, I can run sober house, and I can, have a place for people. And yes, that is helpful. Beds are helpful. But if it's not coming from a place of honesty and experience, then it's fucking worthless. It always was for me. I remember I was in a Salvation Army facility out in California, and the main counselor there was not one of
Mm.
us, and he absolutely did not help me. He was also a fat tub of lard, and I went, "Why are you giving me advice on how to fucking live my life? You're not a fucking drug addict, you're not an alcoholic, and you're a fat piece of shit." And so anything he said to me had absolutely no effect on me. But when someone is working the program, like the men that helped us and showed us how to do this, were working a program. Yes, they had the knowledge, but they also had the experience, and they were also doing it right in front of my fucking
Right.
face.
Right.
That's what works. Yeah. So that, and it's actually nothing to do with Matthew Perry other than that quote bothered me. I have the knowledge and I can't always apply it to
Right.
myself.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Well, and
Well, then you don't have the fucking
right.
knowledge.
Well, and that's, I wonder if, think about the number of people, and I'm not trying to really play a devil's advocate here. I'm just kind of a afterthought, but
Mm-hmm.
think about the number of people that we know, and Daryl, our friend Daryl pops into my head where, he knew what to do,
Mm-hmm.
but he couldn't accept, step
Right.
one. So, maybe,
Uh-huh.
maybe that was the way it was meant. But I agree with you though, that, maybe
Yeah.
I don't know that, well, but then again, um,
And
yeah.
Daryl's dead
And
too.
I think it was, I want to say Hank Azario. He's sober, isn't he? I think I saw.
I
Okay,
believe
I
so.
think there
Yeah,
was
yeah.
the quote from him in one of the articles that I read that said that, and I guess Frank Azario is like 17 years sober, and he said when I got sober, Matt's the one that took me to a meeting, and he's the reason that
Uh-huh.
that I ended up even I have this opportunity. So maybe he's the guy that, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, he's got the money, he's got the house, and that was in that too. It's the I think it's the Perry House or whatever they call it, but it's like one of his
Okay.
previous homes. That he bought a new house
Uh-huh.
and left that one, and they made it into a sober house. So maybe it is along
Right.
the lines where do as I say, not as I do. Which again, that certainly didn't. In the long run, probably it wouldn't have helped him. The do as I say,
Mm-hmm.
not as I do is not going to work in this thing. It,
Right. Yeah,
but
absolutely.
here's the other thought that I had, and it's kind of has a happy ending to it because I don't want to say I was getting mad about it, but I was one of the things I wanted to talk about was that the the whole point of celebrities dying and stuff like that, and I've heard people
Mm-hmm.
say over the years when celebrities die, they're like, does anyone realize that there's millions of people out there, thousands and thousands and thousands, if not millions of people out there struggling, and just because and I'm not talking about Matthew Perry in particular. Any one of
Uh-huh.
celebrity status that dies of alcohol or drug
Right.
use, or drug abuse.
Mm-hmm.
That's all this. Ooh, this and that, and all these things, and knowledge comes out, blah blah blah. But what about all these other people?
Mm-hmm.
And my answer to
Right.
that, it's not Matthew Perry's fault. It's not the other millionaires that are dying. It's fucking everyone
Right.
else. Okay, and so
Yeah.
this is your wake up call. If you're out there and you're listening, and you're like, why all these other whatever this celebrity. Well, rather than worry about some dude, and again, not taking anything away from Matthew Perry or anyone else, but this millionaire or these millionaires, these celebrities, give every one of us an opportunity to look downward and say, okay, this is a problem. So why don't you help out some group? You know, and
Yeah.
this one guy died, but yeah, there's thousands of us. We know hundreds of people.
Mm-hmm.
It's a problem. The only
Sure.
reason it's even making the news is because he's a celebrity. He's Matthew Perry and all these other
Right.
people. Which again, I'm not taking away from them as an individual. They're still a human being, and it's a loss and all this sort of things. But one thing that we've always talked about, no bad examples, right?
Right.
and and if anyone hopefully don't, well, I don't know, I was going to say hopefully people don't take it wrong, but you're going to take it how you're going to take it. We were taught that every example is an example that could be used, and either what we
Mm-hmm.
can do, what we should do, or what we can't do and what we should not do. That's it.
Yep. Absolutely.
And like you
Yep.
just said, all these men, that and all these people that guided us, that's what we should do. The people who can't seem to get it, the Darryls of the world and stuff like that, who we love to death. He
Mm-hmm.
was a good friend of ours,
Right.
but I sure as fuck
Yep.
wasn't going to follow him on this path because he wasn't doing the
Uh-uh.
right things. So
Right.
you can't bring back Matthew Perry, you can't bring back any of these other celebrities, but here's what you can do is give to somebody. And rather than,
Yep.
what was irritating me is that this guy literally says, when I die, this is what I want, and it seemed like everyone's doing the
Mm-hmm.
opposite, which it is what it is. But
Of course.
here's the
Right.
thing, and this popped up, I was going to do a Google search on something, and I see Matthew Perry Foundation started. I'm like, wait, what? So literally today, some group, whoever they were, there's a website up there. It's called the Matthew Perry Foundation.org, I believe. And it said, following
Mm-hmm.
his wishes, this is what we're doing. So I was like, there we
Mm.
go. Happy ending. Okay. So
Yeah.
if you want to give to a foundation, and you're a huge Matthew Perry fan, we have no affiliation whatsoever with this fucking thing. Literally, it was just started up today,
Right.
and no, it wasn't us.
Mm.
But I believe it's MatthewPerry.org or Matthew Perry Foundation, whatever it is. Google Matthew Perry Foundation, you'll find it.
Yeah.
Or, you know what? And,
Right.
and please, I'm not trying to plug for once, nothing through our website, but Hazelden, the Hazelden
Mm.
Foundation, Betty Ford
Yep.
Hazelden Foundation.
Yep.
I don't give a shit if you
Yep.
do it through our website link or not. Go to Betty Ford Hazelden Foundation. They help thousands, if not
Yep.
millions of people all over the world. Help people like that.
Yep.
We've got the Keating.
And there's the Ed
Yep.
Keating Center
We've
here
got
in
the Keating
Cleveland.
Center.
Google your local. If wherever you are in the world, guess what? There's a fucking recovery program happening somewhere
Yeah.
near you. Google that shit. Find them. Be a part of the solution. Don't be part of the problem, but even worse, don't be
Right.
apathetic and just, it's somebody else's problem. No, because it touches all of us. It touches all of us.
Yeah, and you said the exact words, local, anyone. There's always,
Yep.
always a group out there. And regardless
Mhm.
of who you believe in, what your background is, anything like that, you will find a group that fits well with you, and give them
Yeah.
a couple of bucks. And
Right.
seriously, it doesn't have to be much. What
No.
we used to do, and it was after, I say we as a family, what we started to do afterwards, but our family,
Mhm.
the first year that we got sober, rather than, we used to do a $25 gift exchange, which over the
Mhm.
years got to be pointless because basically it just, people had so much trouble trying to find gifts. It would have been better sitting down into the room and just everyone handing each other $25 and surrounded, back and forth, and
Right.
gone on with their lives. But it was this gift exchange just got to be a pain in the ass. So our family did it on their own. I had no idea they were going to do it that year, but every one of them
Mhm.
took, that rather than do the gift exchange, they all put at least $25, if not more, and gave all that money to the Keating Center, that first year, which,
Yep.
I mean, it touches me now, but at the time I was just like, damn, that's kind of
Mhm.
cool. But I mean, it means more to me now than it did then, I think.
Right.
But it kind of blew my mind back
Of course.
then. But we did that for a couple years. Kathy, I know for a fact, donates to the Keating Center every
Uh-huh.
year. Um,
Right.
but
I know Mom
yeah,
did.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. So
Oh yeah.
the
Yeah. Like on her own did. Cause yeah. I talked to Marty about it.
Right.
Yep.
but the
Yeah.
whole
She sent money every year.
right. But the whole point with all of this stuff is that, I mean, again, this has really nothing to do with Matthew Perry. It's just a catalyst for a conversation, But,
Sure. Absolutely.
everyone can help, and everyone, even if
Mhm.
you're listening to this and you happen to be, one of the normies that's listening to us, you're probably listening to us because you know somebody like us. And I
Right.
hope to God they're sober, and I hope to God they're doing well. But I know for a fact that they
Mhm.
know somebody that's not doing well, or you may, so just, again,
Yep.
help somebody, and that's all you got to do. it's not going
Yeah.
to stop the the Matthew Perrys of this world from dying necessarily, but it's going to help somebody.
No.
It's not going to eradicate the disease, but it sure as fuck is going to help. You know.
Yeah, it is. It's going to give one of us the opportunity to have a shot at this thing, which is all
Right.
anybody can do. Have a bed available for them, have a roof over the head over that bed so they have a place to go, get a meal, have a chance to start working this thing, which is all we had. That's all the Keating Center did for us. They gave us a bed, they gave us some old chicken, and they said, go to AA. And then it was
Right.
up to us. And hey, guess what? That fucking
Right.
worked.
Yeah, and still, and I know we've said it, we keep saying it, but there's at least, I mean, there's 10 of us. I know for a fact that at least 10,
Mm-hmm.
from that time frame that have been sober.
Right.
Between April of 2010 to November of 2010. So within that 13
Yep.
year period there, there's 10 of us guys that stayed sober. And
Yeah. Yep.
if we want to talk statistics, which I don't, but there was probably 40
Mm-hmm.
guys in there at that time. There could have been 70 or 80
Sure.
in that
Mm.
6 month period,
Oh, in that month time,
7 month period.
probably 150.
Yeah,
Seriously, you think guys that came in for a week and
right,
probably a solid 150, maybe even
right.
200.
But yeah, and
Yep.
and there could be more of us, more people that stayed sober that we just didn't know, but
Yeah.
we had a
Right.
core group of people, that stayed sober. So
Yeah.
the thing of it is all this shit works, if we do the work, but
Mm-hmm.
we need to be able to, we need help. And, that's what a little bit of money helps with. And, again,
Yeah.
I don't think that it's not going to get eradicated, but it can get
No.
lessened.
Exactly. Right. The more people that have the opportunity to work this thing, the better it's
Right.
going to be. That's all it is. Yeah, of course it's not going to go away. It's human
Right.
nature. People want to get fucked up, and the disease is a disease. It's not polio where you can get a vaccine and it goes away. It takes work. It takes, like Bob used to say all the time, it's an inside
Right.
job. We've got to do the work internally to make this thing work. But if we do that, it does work.
Right. Yeah. It works if you work it, I heard.
I've heard that
And
somewhere
you're
too.
worth it.
So work it.
Yeah, that's just, again, anyone who's never been to a 12-step meeting, that's a weird little cadence at the end. A lot of people have probably seen it on TV shows. That's where I see it more so.
Oh,
TV
sure.
shows and
Oh yeah, well, Christ, when I was out in California when I first got exposed to this shit. Oh yeah, that was, they'd fucking
Right.
chant that. It works if you work it, so work it because you're worth it.
Yeah, they did that a little bit in Wisconsin too. Well, you went to a couple of meetings with me in Wisconsin, and
Uh-huh.
it was what. No offense to it, but it wasn't necessarily our complete deal. I liked the meetings there, but they were soft, And
Mhm.
I'm not saying that I couldn't have gotten sober there, but I'm glad that we had that opportunity to get dealt with, and handled by the Bobs and the Bavars of the world.
Yes, exactly. Firm but
Right.
fair.
Yeah. Like an elephant. That elephant was firm but fair and funny.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, that was that was hilarious. But okay. So anything more on? I think we did everything.
Yeah,
And like I said,
exactly. If you're
no, go ahead.
if you're out there and you're bemoaning the fact that it's a fucking disease. It doesn't matter who you are or what you do or whatever. If you got it, it's gonna fucking kill you if you don't do something
Right.
about it. So if you want to help, give to somebody that's helping other people, because you personally can't do a goddamn thing about it.
Right. Yeah, and that was the main thing. I was trying to figure out a way to, to talk about those things I wanted to say about this whole Matthew Perry thing, but I wasn't trying to shit on his grave, and then
Mhm.
again, I wasn't trying to make it
No.
I wasn't trying to do what everyone else was fucking doing. I didn't want to talk about, I want to talk about his stardom, and I wanted his, whole celebrity.
No, we talked about the hot chicks on the show.
Yeah. Amanda.
As we discussed Friends, you got one you like, I got one I like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Courtney Cox, Jennifer Aniston, and then of course we're both on board with Amanda Pete, right?
Exactly.
Look
See,
at
look at that.
that. Hey,
You know, and I'd let Kudrow do stuff to me. It'd be fine.
you know what? Seriously, not even kind of, she annoyed me on the show, but she was in Analyze This with Billy Crystal and Robert De Niro and stuff. She was actually kind of funny in that, but I saw she was in a couple other things too. Oh, I was watching. Did you ever watch? You probably never watched Band of Brothers, did you? Because that's HBO thing. So
Nope.
David Schwimmer has
Nope.
a part in there. He's kind of a real, I don't know, dick of a brain dead kind of officer type of thing in there. But
So he's
yeah.
typecasting.
But it was just kind of funny. I didn't realize that he was in it. And then he comes in and he's just like, that kind of, this like drill sergeant type of thing. And it just kind of blew my mind. But nobody wanted to serve with him or anything. Long story. But I was like, it was interesting. Totally different character, of course, than, obviously is fucking Ross on Friends character. But yeah, I know.
Whatever.
Anyhow, so all right, I think we've taken care of all of our duties for the evening. So we all good?
All right. You said duty.
No, you said duty. Have we
That's
said
right.
penis yet? Penis. There.
Penis. Vagina.
Just the way you said that too. All right. You know what? On that note, let's get the fuck out of here. It's your turn.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to another episode of Sober Not Mature. As always, be kind to each other, be good to each other, go out and do something nice for somebody else this week. Don't tell anybody about it. And now it is time. It is time, kids, for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off till you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate. Dream the impossible dream and keep fucking off forever.
You were like very excited through that too. You're like,
you know what? Because we're fucking done.
You said that a couple of weeks ago, and I kind of caught on to that. Why you get so boisterous when you're doing that? Because it gets us on out of here. So, all right. I got nothing else. You already said.
Yeah, that's it,
we're
man.
Done. I love you, brother, and
we're done. I
talk
love
to
you too.
Bye.
You will. Bye. And now it is time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off until you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate, dream the impossible dream, and keep fucking off forever.